There is a person in your life right now who is fighting a battle they cannot win, a battle against their own heart, against their own mind, against a feeling that refuses to be silenced no matter how hard they try to push it away. And the most astonishing part is that you probably have no idea this war is even happening inside them, because they have become experts at hiding what they feel. They have mastered the art of appearing calm while everything inside them is in chaos. They have learned to smile when they want to cry, to stay silent when they want to speak, to walk away when they want to stay. And this is exactly what Carl Jung would recognize as the unconscious mind protecting itself from something it is not ready to face. Jung believed that the human psyche is constantly engaged in a struggle between what we consciously want and what we unconsciously feel, and when these two forces are in conflict, the result is a battle that plays out beneath the surface in ways that even the person experiencing it cannot fully understand. Today I want to show you 7 signs that someone is fighting their feelings for you, and the 5th sign will completely change how you see their behavior, because it reveals the hidden psychological war that most people never recognize. But before we explore these signs, we need to understand why someone would fight their feelings in the first place, because the answer is not as simple as fear of rejection or fear of vulnerability. Jung taught that the unconscious mind operates according to its own logic, and sometimes it fights against love, not because love is unwanted, but because love threatens something deeper. It threatens the identity a person has built, it threatens the walls they have constructed to protect themselves, and it threatens to awaken parts of themselves they have kept buried for years. This is why someone can feel deeply for you and still push you away, why they can want you and still run from you, why they can dream of you and still deny it with every breath they take. And understanding this contradiction is the key to seeing through their mask and recognizing the truth that their actions are trying to hide. Because when someone is fighting their feelings, they are not fighting you, they are fighting themselves. They are fighting the part of them that wants to surrender to something they have spent their whole life avoiding, and that is a battle that leaves visible marks if you know where to look. And this brings us to the first sign someone is fighting their feelings for you. They are hyper aware of you, but they pretend not to notice you at all. Jung believed that what we unconsciously focus on often reveals what truly matters to us, and when someone is fighting their feelings, their attention becomes divided. They are drawn to you like a magnet, but they force themselves to look away. They notice when you enter a room, but they pretend they did not see you. They hear your voice in a crowd, but they act like they are not listening. They remember the smallest details about you, but they act like they do not care. And this contradiction is the first clue that something deeper is happening beneath the surface, because genuine indifference does not require effort. When someone truly does not care, they do not have to try to ignore you, it happens naturally. But when someone is fighting their feelings, they have to work hard to appear unaffected. They have to remind themselves not to look, they have to force themselves not to stare, they have to resist the urge to be near you, and that effort is visible to anyone who knows what to look for. You may notice that they steal glances when they think you are not watching. You may notice that they quickly look away when you catch them staring. You may notice that they seem nervous or flustered around you even when they are trying to appear calm, and all of these small signals reveal a hidden truth. Their mind is preoccupied with you even when their actions say otherwise. They are constantly monitoring your presence, your energy, your mood, your reactions, and they are doing it without conscious awareness, because their unconscious has already decided that you are important, and that importance cannot be hidden no matter how hard they try. And this brings us to the second sign someone is fighting their feelings for you. They create distance, but they cannot stay away. This is one of the most confusing patterns in human behavior, because it seems completely illogical. Why would someone who feels something for you push you away only to return again and again? Jung would explain this as the ego trying to protect itself from the overwhelming power of the unconscious. The conscious mind says, "This is too dangerous, I need to create distance," but the unconscious mind says, "This person matters to me, I need to be close, and these two forces pull the person in opposite directions, creating a push-pull dynamic that can be incredibly frustrating for the person on the receiving end. You may notice that they go through cycles of warmth and coldness. One week they are engaged and attentive, the next week they are distant and detached. One day they seem to want to be around you, the next day they avoid you completely, and this inconsistency is not a sign that their feelings are fading. It is a sign that their feelings are so strong that they cannot regulate them. They try to pull away, but they cannot stay away because something inside them keeps drawing them back, and the more they fight it, the more intense the pull becomes, because Jung taught that what we resist most persistently often gains the greatest power over us. So the more they try to suppress their feelings, the more those feelings grow in the unconscious mind until they become impossible to ignore. This is why someone can try to forget you for months and then suddenly reach out as if no time has passed, because the feelings never actually went away, they were just buried, and eventually they surfaced again. And this brings us to the third sign someone is fighting their feelings for you. They become unusually emotional around you for no apparent reason. You may notice that they get defensive quickly, or that they react strongly to things you say that seem harmless. You may notice that they seem irritated or frustrated when you are around, even when you have done nothing wrong. Or you may notice that they become unusually quiet or withdrawn in your presence, as if they are trying to contain something that wants to burst out. And Jung would recognize this as the shadow making itself known. The shadow is the part of ourselves that we hide from the world and often from ourselves. And when we are fighting strong feelings, those feelings become part of the shadow. They are pushed down and repressed, but they do not disappear. They find other ways to express themselves, through irritation, through defensiveness, through emotional outbursts that seem disproportionate to the situation. This is why someone who is fighting their feelings may seem angry at you for no reason. They are not angry at you, they are angry at themselves for feeling what they feel. They are angry at the power you have over their emotions, and they are angry at their own inability to control what is happening inside them. And all of that anger gets directed outward toward the person who is causing the feelings, you, because you are the trigger, you are the reminder of what they are trying to suppress. And every time you appear, you force them to confront something they are not ready to face. This is why their emotional reactions often feel confusing to you, because they are not reacting to what you did, they are reacting to what you represent in their inner world, and the intensity of their reaction is directly proportional to the intensity of their hidden feelings. And this brings us to the fourth sign someone is fighting their feelings for you. They remember everything you say, but they act like it does not matter. Jung believed that what we unconsciously hold on to often reveals what carries deep psychological significance for us. And when someone is fighting their feelings, their mind becomes a storage vault for everything connected to you. They remember the stories you told them, they remember your favorite things, they remember the jokes you made, they remember the things that make you sad, they remember the things that make you happy, they remember conversations you probably forgot having, because to them those moments were not just conversations, they were emotional experiences that left a mark. And the reason they remember is not because they have a good memory, it is because you have become psychologically important to them. Their mind has marked you as someone worth paying attention to, someone worth understanding, someone worth holding on to. And even though they may try to act like you do not matter, their memory betrays them. They will bring up things you mentioned months ago as if you just said them. They will reference inside jokes you thought they had forgotten. They will surprise you with how much they know about you, and when you ask them how they remember all of this, they will shrug it off as if it is nothing. But it is not nothing, it is the unconscious mind refusing to let go of what it has decided is meaningful. And this is one of the most telling signs, because memory is difficult to fake. You cannot force yourself to remember details about someone you do not care about, and you cannot force yourself to forget details about someone who truly matters to you. The mind holds on to what the heart values, and when someone remembers everything about you, it is proof that you have already become part of their inner world, whether they are ready to admit it or not. And this brings us to the fifth sign, the one that will completely change how you see their behavior. They are terrified of losing you, but they act like they do not care. This is the deepest psychological contradiction of all, because on the surface they appear indifferent. They seem like they could walk away at any moment. They act like you are replaceable, but beneath that mask there is a fear so intense that it shapes everything they do. Jung would recognize this as the persona, the mask we wear to protect ourselves from vulnerability. The persona says, I am strong, I am independent, I do not need anyone, but the shadow says, I am terrified of being abandoned, I am afraid of being alone, and I cannot imagine my life without you. And these two forces create a person who appears cold on the outside while burning with emotion on the inside. They will act like they do not care because caring feels too dangerous. If they admit how much you mean to them, they become vulnerable, and vulnerability opens the door to pain. They have been hurt before, and they have made a silent promise to themselves never to let that happen again, so they protect themselves by pretending not to care, but their behavior reveals the truth. They monitor your social media. They notice when you are not around. They get anxious when you seem distant. They worry when you do not reply to their messages. They ask questions about your life that seem casual but are really attempts to understand where they stand with you. And when they think they might be losing you, their composure cracks and they do something unexpected. They reach out, they make an effort, they show a glimpse of the feeling they have been trying to hide. This is why people who are fighting their feelings often seem to care most when you are pulling away, because the fear of losing you becomes stronger than the fear of vulnerability. They would rather risk rejection than lose you completely, and that fear reveals the depth of what they are trying to hide. And this brings us to the sixth sign. Someone is fighting their feelings for you. They try to convince themselves they are over you, but they keep coming back in their thoughts. Jung observed that what we try to push away often returns with greater force, because the unconscious mind does not forget what it is deemed important. And when someone is fighting their feelings, they may tell themselves they have moved on. They may try to date other people. They may try to focus on work. They may try to convince themselves that you are not that special. But then a quiet moment comes and their mind returns to you. They hear a song that reminds them of you. They visit a place that holds memories of you. They have a dream where you appear, and they wake up feeling like they have lost something they cannot name. And this is the most frustrating part of fighting feelings, because the battle never truly ends. The feelings are always there, waiting beneath the surface, ready to emerge the moment the guard is down. And this is why people who fight their feelings often seem stuck. They cannot move forward because a part of them is still holding on to you. They cannot fully invest in new relationships because no one else feels the same. They cannot forget you because you have become part of their inner world. They may tell themselves they are over you, but their actions reveal otherwise. They check your profile. They ask about you through mutual friends. They find excuses to be in places where you might be. They stay connected to your life even when they claim they have moved on, because moving on is not as simple as deciding to move on. When someone has become emotionally significant to you, they remain part of your internal landscape whether you want them to or not. And this brings us to the seventh and final sign, the one that reveals the depth of their hidden feelings. They are willing to wait for you even when they have no guarantee that you will ever come back. Jung believed that the human psyche is drawn toward what it recognizes as meaningful, and when someone believes you are meaningful, they will wait for you, not because they are desperate but because no other option compares to you. They have experienced something with you that they cannot find anywhere else, and they are not willing to settle for less. They will wait for you to figure things out. They will wait for you to heal. They will wait for you to be ready. They will wait for you to see them the way they see you. And even if that wait is long, even if it is painful, even if it seems hopeless, they will still hold on because they believe that what you have is worth holding on for. And this is the deepest sign of all, because it shows that their feelings are not temporary. They are not a passing crush. They are not a fleeting attraction. Their feelings have become part of who they are, and they cannot imagine a future that does not include you. And when someone is willing to wait for you, it means they have already decided that you are worth the risk, worth the uncertainty, worth the possibility of heartbreak. And that is the most powerful declaration of love there is, even if they never say the words out loud. Waiting is an act of faith. It says, I believe in what we could be, I believe in what we have already become, and I am not going to let fear steal that possibility from me. This is why people who fight their feelings often wait longer than anyone expects, because their feelings are not based on convenience, they are based on meaning, and meaning does not fade with time, it only deepens. So what do you do when you realize someone is fighting their feelings for you? The first step is to recognize the weight of this, because if someone is fighting their feelings for you, it means you have become psychologically significant to them. You have touched something deep within their psyche, and that is not something to take lightly. The second step is to ask yourself, what do you want? Do you want to help them stop fighting, or do you want to give them space to figure it out on their own? Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to be patient and let them come to you in their own time. The third step is to be honest with yourself and with them, because leading someone on when they are deeply attached is not kindness, it is cruelty. If you do not feel the same way, it is better to be clear and compassionate than to leave them in a state of uncertainty. Jung believed that the path toward wholeness requires us to face our shadows and to stop using other people as a way to avoid our own inner work, and this applies to love as well. The healthiest relationships are not created by two people who are fighting their feelings. They are created by two people who are brave enough to admit what they feel and to build something real from that honesty. If you recognize these signs in someone and you feel the same way, the most powerful thing you can do is to create a space where they feel safe enough to stop fighting, where they no longer have to hide, where they can finally admit what they have been feeling all along. Because sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is permission to stop pretending and to finally let themselves love you fully. This is not about pushing them or forcing them to confess. It is about creating an environment where they feel that their truth will be received with kindness, not judgment. When someone feels safe enough to be vulnerable, they will often stop fighting their feelings on their own, because the energy required to suppress love is exhausting, and eventually the heart wins the battle. It always does, because the heart is stronger than the ego and love is stronger than fear, and when love finally wins, it changes everything. So if you see these signs in someone, do not despair, do not give up hope, and do not assume their distance means rejection, because often the people who fight their feelings the hardest are the ones who feel the deepest. They are not pushing you away because they do not want you. They are pushing you away because they want you too much and they do not know how to handle it. And this is the hidden truth that Carl Jung wanted us to understand. The people who affect us the most are often the ones who awaken something inside us that we did not know was there. They become mirrors reflecting parts of ourselves we have been avoiding, and they challenge us to become more honest, more courageous, and more fully alive. So, if someone is fighting their feelings for you, do not see it as a rejection, see it as a sign that you have touched something deep within them, something that matters, something that scares them, because it is real. And that is the most powerful kind of love, the love that transforms not just how we feel but who we are. And while understanding human emotions and psychology can help us understand relationships better, ultimate guidance and strength come from God, because every heart, every connection, and every moment of our lives exists within his knowledge and wisdom. So I want to leave you with a question. Have you ever been the one fighting your feelings for someone? What made you finally stop fighting, and what happened when you did? Because sometimes the heart knows what it wants long before the mind catches up, and sometimes the person who was fighting their feelings for you is not your enemy. They are the person who was most afraid of losing you, and that fear is the truest proof of love there is. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who might be fighting their own feelings, because sometimes the right words at the right time can change everything. And if you are ready to continue this journey of self-discovery, subscribe to Winds of Thought and turn on notifications, because the deepest truths about ourselves are rarely found on the surface. They are discovered when we have the courage to look within and understand the hidden parts of who we truly are. And when you finally see those hidden parts, you will understand that the person who has been fighting their feelings for you was never fighting you at all. They were fighting themselves, and that battle can only end when they realize that love is not something to fear, it is something to embrace. And when they finally stop fighting, they will be free to love you the way they always wanted to, and that is the beginning of something real, something true, something that was always meant to be.